$26.50 suspend to $1,800, $50 probation fee,
Okay,
$30 in court costs.
okay. Community service fee,
70, no,
$10.
yeah, we'll do the $10 community service fee. And then, I think you got the other conditions?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
and there is that deferred in the files, or not deferred, but the sentencing
$50
recommendation.
probation fee.
Yeah, $10. Mr. Altenberg,
Yes, sir. I'd like to call Mr. James G. Macala Menassi, who's in person. He's also a representative of the Delta Kappa Epsilon entity, Your Honor. It's my understanding that both Mr. Menassi's case and the Delta Kappa Epsilon case are tied. They have the same exact facts, and that they are together. It's my understanding that I had an opportunity to speak to Mr. Menassi about the Restorative Justice Program and the sentencing recommendation file for Delta Kappa Epsilon. It's my understanding that the entity of Delta Kappa Epsilon intends to accept or request the sentencing recommendation be adhered to and plead guilty to the alleged violation in question. It's my understanding as well that Mr. Menassi does have a conditional motion to dismiss and file, with the condition being that the Fraternity of Delta Kappa Epsilon accepts the guilty plea and adheres to the sentencing recommendation file.
okay, thank you for that, Mr. Altenberg. All right, so, and you're Mr., is it Menassi or Menassi? Menassi, thank you. That's a hard one. Okay, Mr. Menassi, so you heard Mr. Altenberg describe the agreement that's been reached. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions before we go forward?
Not at the moment.
And are you the president of the organization?
I'm the risk manager.
The risk manager. Okay, so that's fine. I just want to make sure that you're aware that you'll be the person responsible for making sure that there's compliance. Obviously, others will be as well, but since you're the representative for Delta Kappa Epsilon today and the one that's entering the plea on its behalf, you'll be the person expected to make sure that everything gets taken care of. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'll put your name down here. James. And did you all, is it, they call you the Deeks, or is it, do I have that right? Or what is the nickname for?
I guess, yeah, Deke.
Deke, okay, Deke. It's been a long time since I've heard some of these names, but I just curious when I see them. Okay, so we've got Delta Kappa Epsilon here with Mr. Menassi, who's representing the entity, and the charge would be an unreasonable noise charge that the entity would be pleading guilty to. And that's a violation of section 596 of the Boulder Revised Code. There is a sentence recommendation that would be in the file that if you were to plead guilty, the city would be recommending that I impose a $2,650 fine, suspend $1,650 of that fine, place you on a 9-month probation term. You'll have the community living class, the Restorative Justice Program that could be completed by the Executive Board, and then 75 hours of community service by the entire fraternity. Is that what you understand to be the agreement?
Yes, sir.
Any questions before I accept the pleas?
No, sir.
All right. When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial and all of the other rights that you have. Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol today? And do you understand this charge of making unreasonable noise?
Yes.
Do you agree there's evidence to support that charge?
Yes.
You're doing this without the benefit of a lawyer to represent you. Are you comfortable going forward without a lawyer?
Yes.
Do you understand a lawyer might do a better job of representing you than you do representing yourself?
Yes.
And do you understand, do you agree that there's facts to support this charge?
Yes.
Okay, I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty on behalf of the entity Delta Kappa Epsilon. The charge is making unreasonable noise on September 13th of 2025 at 972 14th Street. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept that guilty plea. I'm going to look at the report. A lot of people. That's a big group. Believe it or not, I went to school here 40 years ago, and I've been here for most of the time since. And so I've seen the ebb and flows of the party scene on the Hill. And some people have been living there longer than I have even been a judge here. And the adults that have been living there a long time, or who've come to the neighborhood and live to the neighborhood and have kids, are impacted significantly by this noise. And so it's hard when you're your age to realize The way you're living your life is completely different than somebody who might have to get up in the morning and handle life's obligations that start maybe at 8 a.m. And a lot of times they do, even if they're not working. They have obligations, they have kids, they have dogs. And so it's just really important to shift your mindset. And it's a transition from being a young person that's living at home, and then you go off and you're living on a college campus. Maybe you move off campus to be in the fraternity. But it's really important that you all think about these things that you're doing, because it has a huge impact on your neighbors. And it's hard to do that because you're having fun, but the impacts are significant. And the ebb and the flow that I'm seeing right now is not a flow I like to see. We've been going downhill, less and less cases coming from our court, less and less violations, fraternities in much better compliance. And this fall, I'm starting to see more people in our court and more fraternities in our court. And I think it's because people have perhaps lost connection with the university for whatever reason, or haven't taken it seriously, or maybe it's just everybody wants to party a little more than they did just a few years ago because COVID's now kind of in the rearview mirror, at least in some people's minds. And so I just encourage you to be thoughtful, because if you come back with another charge, you can expect the prosecutors to ask for a much greater sanction. And if you weren't paying attention last year, for the Kappa Sigma fraternity, which was there when I was a student and was one of the kind of the more popular fraternities, lost its privilege to even have a fraternity. They took the people who run the charter, took the charter from them. And that means all those guys who were living in that house didn't have a place to live. It happened like that. And I had friends who had sons at that fraternity who lost their ability to even be housed. So it's really important that you not jeopardize that. That's not a criminal sanction. That comes directly from the charter. And so you don't want to be in the position of losing the benefit of having your fraternity and having a place to live for you and for so many others. So as a risk manager, you got to share that with these folks and make sure everybody gets it. That if you're going to host parties, that you party responsibly, that you register those parties, and you make sure that you're not in a situation going forward. So a lot of a speech from an old guy, but I think it's important that you know this stuff, okay? I am going to follow the recommendations, but I want to give you a chance to say anything else that you'd like me to hear before I set the fine.
Anything to say right now?
Okay. I'm going to impose a $2,650 fine. I'm going to suspend $1,650 of that fine. There'll be $30 in court costs, a $50 probation fee. And then there's a $10 community service fee. You'll be on probation for the 9-month period. You'll have 75 hours of community service for the entire fraternity to complete, and then the senior restorative justice program and the community living class will be for the executive board to complete. You've got the bad news. You get to be the bearer of bad news to people and say, this is what we have to do. But it's important that others make sure that they get the community service done. You do not want to be having to nag people as you get closer to that deadline to get them to do their share of the community service. So you're going to work with Slice on campus to find a community service option that's available. They may set some limits on how many hours each person has to do. They may not want 20 minutes from this person and 40 minutes from that person. That'll be up to you and Slice to figure out, but I want to make sure you know that going in. And I would encourage you to, at the next meeting where you have an opportunity, say, everybody better get busy and not allow others to say, well, that's not my problem. I'm not the risk manager. I'm not the one that has to do it. It'll be everybody's problem if you're not in compliance. All right. So that takes care of that. The good news is, Mr. Manessy, your case will be dismissed. You've now entered plea on the other charge. The city attorney's filed a motion to dismiss in that case. I'll sign off on that later. You'll get a copy of it. As long as we've got a good email from you, for you, we'll email you a copy of the order dismissing that individual charge.
Thank you.
All right. Next step for you is to get you down to meet with probation so they can go over all of this with you. All right. Maria, you want to walk them back?
Your Honor, so Mr. Compton has 2 cases. The first one is just the most recent, is just a prohibited items charge.
Right.
So for that one, Mr. Compton is engaged with case management with UP from all roads.
Okay. So we can dismiss that charge for prohibited items, and we'll put case management with all roads. Do you anticipate, Mr. Compton, that you might try to get a reserve bed up there as the weather gets colder? Have you thought about that up at All Roads? Okay, it's something to be thinking about. The weather's gonna change here in a month or two. And then, what happens is a lot of people don't think about it, and then they go to get a reserve bed and they're all filled up. So just be thoughtful about it, that as the season starts to change. But your case here is going to be dismissed. That new case number 2025-4720 is going to be dismissed based on your work with all roads. And then, do you want to share with me where we are on the last condition for the deferred judgment?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Compton will be meeting with I believe we decided on an Europa counselor visit at Deacon's Closet
On Thursday?
on Thursday.
So should we reschedule the case, that case for Thursday? That way we can wrap it up that day?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're gonna reset you for community court on that case, which is case number 2025-3371. And that'll be for Thursday, September 25th. I'll be the judge on the docket. Really, all we need you to do is you go and get that Naropa counseling session completed. Then I can, if you'll come on the record briefly, we can just note that you've completed all the conditions for your deferred judgment, and that'll satisfy that obligation. All right, any questions from either of you? All right, if you'll just have a out front, because we're going to reset you on the old case, we'll reset you. So they'll give you a setting notice for community court. And then I'll get you on your way, Mr. Compton.
What?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. I've spoken with Mr. Bonner this morning. There are two charges in this case, disposition of dead animals and improperly caring for animals. Both of these allegations come from the store that he owns, which is Scales and Tails in Boulder. Reading through the report, it seems like there is some follow-up here from animal protection that would be really helpful for this case. So what I'd like to do is continue this case for about 2 to 3 weeks. We're gonna send him discovery, and I'm gonna follow up with animal protection in the meantime to see where things are at. And then once both of those things are completed, I think we can have a more substantive conversation about a plea offer.
Okay, that makes sense. Does that make sense to you as well?
Yes, sir.
All right, and so, Mr. Bonner, I'll give you the option of appearing in person or by Zoom video for your next court date. Since you've been in court already, you've heard the advisement. So I'll send you out front. They'll get you a new court date. We won't enter any pleas today, so none of your rights are impacted when you come back. If you decide you want to accept an offer from the prosecutor, or if you want to set the case for trial, you'll have all those options, whatever you choose to do. All right, if you'll just make your way out front, they'll get you your new court date.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day. Hello, Ms. Grant.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
And I'm gonna pull open your case file and see if there's anything from the prosecutors for me to share with you.
Your Honor.
Yes, is that Ms. Bittencourt?
Yes, I just want to put it on the record that the defendant has been served with the show cause on the older case.
Okay, thank you for that, Ms. Bittencourt. And I was aware that there was a prior case and that I just signed off on the show cause order earlier. And I am not seeing that there's been an offer placed in the file on this new case. And then, Nick, did we print out a face sheet for the older case for
I will do that right
Ms. Grant? Let's do that, and I'm gonna talk to you about both cases, Ms. Grant. And Ms. Bittencourt, while I've got you here, I thought I had seen in the Teams chat that there had been a deferred judgment offer placed in the file, but is that not accurate for Ms. Grant?
I'm not seeing anything in the on file. I can double check with the city attorneys to make sure if they're gonna put something on
Yeah,
file.
It may or may not have been what I was looking at, but I thought I saw that there was something, but maybe Mr. Altenberg doesn't realize that the circumstance would require, he doesn't have to put an offer in, but it was typically, what I've seen in the past is there's still an offer in the file for the new charge. So if you wouldn't mind, and with him and with Ms. Grant and probably with Ms., and I'm not sure if I'm saying the name correctly, Ms. Swike. And that might be Sweek. So Ms. Grant, you'll recall that you were here previously, and actually, Nick, I need the one for 51. confused. Is this 51?
Yeah.
No, I think I misled you. I already had 4872. I don't have 5187 printed out.
Okay.
So let me look at 4872. Okay, so you were here in court in case number 2025-4872. You came to court. Thank you, Nick. You came to court on September 12th, and you entered into a deferred prosecution agreement. You'll probably remember that. And the condition of the deferred prosecution agreement was that you complete the level 3 class and that you go through the period before the case was resolved with not any other violations or charges. The new case that you have, case number 2025-5187, alleges that you picked up another charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol and that occurred before you had provided proof of completing the class. So what the prosecutor has done in the old case has filed what is called a show cause order request, and I have issued the order. The allegation in the show cause advisement, which you were served earlier, I believe, indicates that because you were, one of the commitments that you made was to not get a new charge, the prosecutor is now asking us to revoke the deferred prosecution in your case, which means you would have to now face the other charge. What I was speaking to Ms. Bittencourt about was to see if the prosecutor was going to put a new offer in the file. Sometimes they'll look at both cases and they'll make an offer that will wrap up the two cases. It would be a different outcome for you, but they would have an offer that would resolve the case. I'm not seeing anything of that nature in either of these files, which surprises me to some extent, but it may mean that because it happened rather quickly that he didn't realize that there was another case and he may not have pulled up the other case and offered the deferred. He did obviously execute the request for a show cause advisement. He just may not have realized he needed to go back into the other file and make an offer. So I'm pointing, go ahead, Ms. Bittencourt.
Excuse me, Your Honor. So I tried to reach out to Mr. Altenberg, and he's not available at this moment. He requested if we could reset those cases. So
it may make sense to reset them so that Ms. Grant and Ms. Sweek can get an offer in the file from the prosecutors. So, yeah, I'm looking at the new case. And so let me tell you about this new charge. It's case number 2025-5187. This is a charge of possession and consumption of alcohol and being under the age of 21 when doing so. So you have this new charge. And so you've got two cases now going at the same time. If you would like, we can reset both cases for you to come back. I have to reset one of them. The show cause case I would have to reset. The second case, you could plead guilty to that charge, but it may not be to your benefit to simply plead guilty. It might be worthwhile to see what type of offer the prosecutor can make with respect to both cases. So since you're going to have to come back anyway on the show cause hearing, it might make sense to just come back on both. Would you like to do that?
Is that just until talk about both cases on that one day and just come back here and do that?
We'll come back on one day to talk about both cases.
Also, because I haven't completed the alcohol class yet, I do have it registered and I sent in the confirmation of that. Does that have any difference, or do I have to wait till after that's completed?
When are you scheduled for that class?
I believe October, like beginning of October.
that is correct, Your Honor.
So the problem with you completing that class is that maybe you may end up getting ordered to a different class at this point with a second violation or alleged violation, especially if you decide to accept a plea offer. So I can't give you legal advice, but I could certainly tell you what's something that you could do. You could cancel that class, and Ms. Bittencourt's listening in on this, and then we would reset both of these cases. And when you come back, you might be ordered to a different class. It might not be level 3. It might be level 4. It might be something entirely different depending on how the prosecutor looks at the case. But I don't think it makes sense to attend that class and then have to take another class that's different.
Okay.
And so what I would suggest is you contact the university, let them know that you may have to take a different class, and so you're going to reschedule as soon as these cases have been resolved. resolved, and then we'll reset you for a date for you to come back when we do have a prosecutor available on both of these. So we would reset both cases for what's called the disposition and trial setting date. And is that what you'd like to do?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this goes without saying, but I'm just going to say it out loud. You cannot pick up another charge. You are going to have to, I don't know whether you're guilty or not of the second charge. You're presumed innocent of that charge, but you do not want to be coming back here with anything else that you have to address with our court. You've got to be really smart with what you're doing at this point, because it could really jeopardize your future. So you've just got to get it in the right direction. I won't say any more because I don't want to presume someone's guilt of anything. But you know what you need to do to keep yourself in a position where you can get your justice-oriented life in the right direction. So I want to just take a quick look at our calendar because I don't want this to be too far out. So we'll take a moment to do that.
Your Honor, just an idea, if I might.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Bittencourt. Happy to hear it.
Can we reschedule maybe for next Tuesday in the MIP docket as well? And then by then I'll make sure we have something and we have a city attorney available too.
Oh, that was my concern about the dispo trial setting is that if I set it for an MIP, I don't know that I'll have a prosecutor here for that docket. That's my only concern. I could set it, if you could make this step to make sure that they put an offer in the file, then I'd be okay with doing that.
Okay, yeah, I will do that. I will have a conversation with Mr. Altenberg as soon as he's done on his meeting and we're done with MIPs. And I think next week, so we don't leave this for too far because I know we're pretty booked in October.
That's my concern as well, is trying to find a date. So I think that makes sense, Fernanda. So we'll just reschedule this for September 30th, which is the same time next week at 1:45. I just want to make sure do we have a MIP docket next? We don't have one there. Oh yeah, we do. Okay. We've got, and it's a small docket, so that'll work too. Okay. So we're going to reschedule this for next Tuesday. At 12:45. And we'll set both cases for that time. And then in the meantime, Fernanda's going to work with the prosecutor. It'd be great, Fernanda, if we could actually have Mr. Altenberg or Ms. Keller available for that MIP docket, because it's a short one. If they could just be here to meet with perhaps both Ms. Grant and Ms. Sweek. I'll be talking to her in a moment. But so that there's a possibility that he could meet with both of them if necessary. If he has an offer in the file, they may be willing to accept it, but it may be one where we'd like to have his presence in case there does need to be some discussion.
Sounds good, Your Honor. If
Okay.
something comes to different than what we're discussing here, I'll get in touch with the defendant. I also have her current phone number and email address as well. I'll keep her posted.
That sounds good. Thank you. All right. So hang on tight for a moment because I'm going to call Ms. Sweek. Is it Sweek? Swike, Ms. Swike, why don't you come on forward? And Nick, there should be two for her. Did you print out both of them? Okay. So we've got face sheets for both cases. So, and why don't you just trade spots? I'll talk to Ms. Swike now. Okay. And let me pull up your case, Ms. Swike. We've got case number 2025-4853. And exactly the same as for Ms. Grant. You were here on September 12th. You executed the deferred prosecution agreement. There's an allegation that you failed to comply with the terms of that deferred prosecution. So I have now issued a show cause order, which is for you to appear today and address that. I don't see anything in your file either. So my suggestion would be the same as it was for Ms. Grant, is that we reset both of these cases for you to come back next Tuesday to the MIP docket. And then we'll give Mr. Altenberg a call and let him know that you have these two cases. He knows you have them, but let him know that you've rescheduled for next Tuesday. Is that what you'd like to do?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Same goes for you. I really am going to urge you to make sure that you do everything in your power to not have any other charges so that you're not addressing a very complicated legal situation with our court.
Absolutely.
It's already more complicated than it needs to be. Okay. Won't enter any pleas for on either of those cases for you or for Miss Grant. And then I'm going to send you both out front. Our clerks are going to get you that court date. They'll give you a setting notice. Make sure you're here at 12:45. When you come back, then hopefully there'll be an offer in the file. You can always touch base with Fernanda, the probation officer. You probably have her contact information. And if you have any questions, but ultimately there may even be an offer that she can make sure that you're aware of so that when you come, you can decide whether to accept that or not. Okay? So right out front.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You too. Okay. And give each other a little bit of room. I'm going to go over each case with individuals first. So we'll call Simon Stucker first. Is that you, sir?
Yes, that's
All right, Mr. Stucker, Nick's going to pull up your case. Does look like you have a deferred prosecution that's been made available to you for the charge of being in possession of marijuana by someone who's under the age of 21. I'll tell you a little bit about the conditions of the deferred prosecution. I've kind of done that as a group, and I won't do this every single time, but I think it gives a little bit of help for me to explain it a couple of times. If you enter into a deferred prosecution today, you're agreeing to continue your case over for 6 months. You're not having to plead guilty to anything. Nothing goes on your record. You are expected to meet with probation. They will determine what class for you to complete. And then when you complete that class and get the certificate to us, we dismiss the case and we seal your record. There's a $100 fee associated with the deferred prosecution. So that's one option for you. Like I said earlier, it's an offer. You don't have to accept it. You could also plead not guilty and set the case for trial. If you'd like to consult with counsel, you could hire an attorney. You could go through student legal services and see if you could get a reduced fee lawyer through that office, or you could apply for the public defender. You can also meet with the prosecutor. You come back on another date to meet with the prosecutor. So a lot of different ways to resolve the case. What would you like to do, Mr. Stucker?
I would like to accept your offer, Your Honor.
Okay, so I'm going to make that an order of the court. Do you have the ability to pay that $100 fee today?
I do.
All right. Do you have any questions about how this works?
I don't have any questions, Your Honor.
Okay. You understand that if you get another charge, you'll be back to see us and you might lose the benefit of this deferred prosecution? Yes. Okay. I'm going to make this an order of the court. It's for a 6-month deferred prosecution to the one charge that's pending for you. Have you heard from CU yet?
I have.
You have. Have you scheduled a meeting with them?
Yes, I already had a Zoom meeting with a counselor of some type.
Okay, and what did they order you to complete? Do you recall?
They said it would be dismissed, and they said that the court will order me to take a class and that I have to show the class to someone at the school or my completion of the class.
Okay, so they're going to defer to whatever we've ordered you to complete? Yes. Okay. I'll just put a note here. You might have a follow-up conversation with one of our staff members, but I'll put a note here that he has already completed Zoom intake with CU. That's helpful to know. So I may forget to ask that of people, but if you have, let me know if you've already spoken to CU and what the status is with them. So if you'll just have you just kind of step to the side, Mr. Stucker, I'm going to call a few others and then we'll get you moving forward. Dylan Klopstein. Hello, Mr. Klopstein.
Oh, Your Honor.
Let's take a quick look at what we have here. I do have a deferred prosecution. It is to the charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol and possession of or consumption of alcohol in public. So there's 2 charges, but you get the same outcome as anyone else. Is if you enter the deferred prosecution, your case can ultimately be dismissed. Have you thought about whether you want to accept the deferred prosecution offer?
I have.
And what would you like to do?
I would like to take it.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me about how it works?
No, Your Honor.
And can you pay that $100 fee?
I'm not sure if I can today.
Okay.
I can, yes.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, all right, then we'll assume that's the case. And have you heard from CU yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right. And while I've got the whole group here, I will just mention a couple of other things that I try to stress for the group as a whole. You're going to get a due date for completing the class. I would not wait. I have seen hundreds of CU students already since this semester has started. I will see more after today's date, not quite as many as I've already seen, but some more that I will see. And people who are getting scheduled for classes are, some of them are waiting to get signed up. They shouldn't wait, but some will. And if you wait too long, you're going to run into a problem because you're not going to be able to get it scheduled at all, or you're going to have to choose a date that runs up against finals or some kind of other obligation because there won't be as many options. So do not wait to get signed up for the class. If you do, it prolongs the time for you, it makes things more difficult, and it runs the risk that you won't have things done on time. So encourage everybody, when you get done with today's court date, go find out what you need to do to get signed up, and get the class done. Put this behind you before school gets more intense. It happens fast. All of a sudden, the first month is gone. It's already pretty much gone, the first month of school. And you start looking at, oh my God, I got this paper due. I've got this midterm coming up, and things get complicated. And now you're having to do some kind of class and come to court. Get this done as soon as you can so that you're not in a position where it starts to really impact your life. And you don't want to get another charge, obviously, while the case is pending. The other thing I want to stress for this group is we will be giving you a court date. That's the due date for us having proof that you've completed the class. If for some reason you do not have proof that your case has been dismissed by that court date, let's say you went to the class and you thought you sent the certificate in, but you don't have an order that's been emailed to you that says your case has been dismissed, or you haven't heard from the probation that's been dismissed, you should be contacting probation or coming back to court. If you don't come back to court on a court date and I haven't dismissed your case and you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest. I do not like to see CU students sitting in jail, and that could happen. It has happened fairly regularly over the last 20 years. I'll see a few people every semester who are arrested on these types of situations. I just don't want to see it, all right? So make sure that you are thoughtful. This is a serious process, one which comes with some fairly significant consequences if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So just be thoughtful about that as you go through. All right, so you can step aside if you will, Mr. Klopstein, and I'll call the next case, which is Esu Enkbold. I'm not sure I said your last name correctly.
It's Isu Inkbold.
Isu Inkbold. Okay, thank you, Ms. Inkbold. You have two charges pending: a charge of possession of alcohol by a minor and possession of alcohol in public. You're also eligible for a deferred prosecution for your two charges. Have you thought about whether you'd like to accept that offer?
Did you say earlier that I could meet with the prosecutor?
Not today, but if you wanted to come back on another date and present facts to the prosecutor, you could. We would schedule you for what's called a pretrial conference, but we call it a disposition trial setting date, but you could come back and speak with one of them if you'd like to.
I'd like to.
All right. So I won't enter a plea today. And then we're just going to send you right out front. And because we're so busy, it may be 3 to 4 weeks out for that next court date. But when you come back, you'll actually be able to have a conversation with the prosecutor. If you have information you want to share with them, you can do that. And then you and they can make a determination on how you want to proceed next. Okay, so if you'll just go out front to the right where you checked in, they'll get you the information for your next date. You're welcome. Sadie Ledbetter. Hello, Miss Ledbetter. And we'll pull up your case. Give me a moment to do that. Nick's going to beat me. He's faster than me. And you also have a deferred prosecution offer to you, Miss Ledbetter. It's for the charge of possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21. Have you thought about whether you want to accept that or not?
I'd like to meet with the prosecutor.
You want to meet? We'll come back and talk to the prosecutor on another day, and that's okay. We can set you for that new court date. Okay, I'm going to just send you out front. Our clerk will get you that new court date and then get you on your way. All right, thank you. Lillian, is it Leonard? Is that how you say it? All right, Miss Leonard. Let's see if Nick can get these. Gonna get this up for us. We have two charges for you: possession of marijuana by a minor and consumption of marijuana in public. Those are both eligible for a deferred prosecution, so it would be the same handling as the other cases that I've described. You would be required to complete whatever substance use class our probation department ordered for you. And then when that was completed, the case would be dismissed if you decide to accept the deferred prosecution. Have you decided whether you'd like to accept that or not?
Yes, I would like to accept that.
All right, so the question for me, do you have any questions of me?
Nope.
And can you pay that $100 fee today?
Yes.
Have you spoken to CU?
No, they haven't emailed me yet.
Not yet, okay. All right, I'm going to make this an order of the court. You'll be expected to complete the deferred prosecution condition, which is no new violations during the period, and then get the class that's completed. The sooner you get that class done, the quicker your case can be dismissed, and then you won't have the possibility of getting revoked if something else comes along. Not that I would want that for anybody, but I obviously you've seen that can happen with certain people. So that puts you in a position now of going to see our probation department. I'm going to call two more cases because they do want to see people in groups of 3. So if you'll just stand to the side, I'll call Maggie Wolf and then Isla Aragonez. I'm not sure I said that correctly. Aragonez. Okay, you'll be next up then. We'll first call Miss Wolf. Hello, Miss Wolf. And you have a charge of possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21. We do have a deferred prosecution in the file for you. And it is for a 6-month term. Same conditions as I've described to the rest of the group. Have you decided whether you'd like to accept that?
Yes, I'd like to accept.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Can you pay the $100 deferred prosecution fee? And have you heard from CU?
Not yet.
And of course, if you're not a CU student, let me know that. We still have the same offers for people. It's just a different class that you have to complete, and it's no more onerous than the one that is at CU. Okay, I think that's all that I need from you, Ms. Wolf, as long as you don't have any questions for me. If you'll just stand to the side, we'll call Ms. Aragonez. All right, good afternoon, Ms. Aragonez. The charge for you is possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21. And you are eligible for the deferred prosecution agreement. Same exact conditions that are offered in the other cases. Have you decided whether you'd like to accept that or not?
I will.
Okay, any questions for me?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay. And can you pay the $100 deferred prosecution fee today?
I actually paid it online. I wasn't sure if maybe there's records on it.
Huh.
I'm not sure. I might have done it wrong or something, but.
Well, it shouldn't be payable online because it's what we call a mandatory appearance ticket. Nothing's been entered. How did you go about going online? I just have the question to make sure that you didn't pay it somewhere else. So there's this county court that sometimes people confuse with our court.
I probably went to the county court.
How did you get there, and how did you know to what?
I went online. I went to the CU Boulder municipal court, I think.
That's us.
Okay, and then I went to pay tickets, and I entered the amount that the ticket told me I had to pay, and then I just submitted.
Okay. Can you pull up the summons again, Nick? I just want to look at it really quick. We don't have anything in our records that shows a payment that was made. Did you get a receipt?
Yes. May I?
Yes, please.
Excuse me.
That's fine. You can bring it forward once you have it.
All right. Oh, it might have been Boulder County. There you go.
Sometimes, for whatever reason, their system let people pay money even though they can't link it up to a ticket, which shocks me that they allow that. Okay. It does. This has been refunded. Did you read that?
I did not read that.
Yeah. So they caught it. It says tickets issued by other law enforcement agencies should not be paid on our website. Only a Boulder County Sheriff's Office issued summons can be taken. Your payment of $100 has been refunded or voided. So you want to hang on to that, but it looks like they caught it.
I appreciate you through that process.
Yeah, sure. So you're okay. You haven't paid anything yet. You'll end up paying here. It'll be the same $100 fee that you'll have to pay. And you'll be on a deferred prosecution for the 6-month period. All right. So I'm going to send this group of 5 back to meet with probation. They will go over all of this with you, and they'll make sure that you all know what your next step is in the process. I can't stress it any more than I have already. Really make sure that you get that class signed up for, you get yourself in a position where you're done with the class quickly, and then get that proof back to Fernanda so that she can close out your case. All right, thank you all.
Well, that took a turn. Watching in this docket was like watching someone run a courtroom that doubled as a lecture hall. Firm with rulings, patient with explanations, and never missing a chance to remind young defendants that consequences don't wait. The headline case was Delta Kappa Epsilon Fraternity, represented by its risk manager. The fraternity pled guilty to an unreasonable noise charge, Cahn imposed a $2,650 fine, suspending $1,650, 9 months probation, 75 hours of community service for the House, plus restorative justice and a community living class for the Executive Board. Then he turned professor, lecturing about neighbors with kids and jobs who lose sleep from these parties. He warned that sanctions escalate fast and cited another fraternity that lost its charter outright, a reminder that punishment doesn't just come from the court. Mr. Compton, whose new prohibited items charge was dismissed because he was already working with a case manager. But Cahn pressed him to plan for winter, reserve a shelter bed before the weather turned. He also reminded him that finishing counseling was still required to close his deferred judgment, resetting his case for confirmation. It was part judge, part social worker, structure laced with practical advice. Then, owner of Scales and Tails Pet Shop appeared on charges tied to animal care and disposal. Instead of pushing a plea, Cahn granted a continuance, saying it was better to get full discovery and follow-up from animal protection before deciding. His message: don't rush, get the facts, then resolve. The docket sharpeth Miss Grant and Miss Swike, both CU students already in deferred prosecution for underage alcohol charges, but caught again before completing their first programs. Cahn explained the prosecutors were moving to revoke their deferrals and suggested resetting both cases so offers could cover everything together. His warning was blunt: you cannot pick up another charge. He even advised Grant to cancel her scheduled alcohol class, since a second violation might trigger a harsher program anyway. Finally, a group of students in on Stucker, Dylan Klopstein, and Sadie Ledbetter faced standard alcohol or marijuana charges. Cahn explained deferred prosecution like a teacher: no guilty plea, $100 fee, a class, and 6 months of clean conduct before dismissal and sealing. But he layered it with a lecture: don't procrastinate, sign up for classes early, and don't assume paperwork will close your case for you. His candor was sharp. I don't like to see CU students sitting in jail, but it happens. A reminder that leniency doesn't cancel consequences. What tied it all together was Cahn's dual RD guide. He imposed fines, probation, and service, but filled each ruling with lessons about timing, responsibility, and ripple effects. Whether it was a fraternity risking its charter, a homeless man prepping for winter, or freshmen learning the cost of procrastination, he kept the focus on accountability with a steady hand. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read everyone.